Yeah. Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Friday Night Hangout. I'm excited to welcome you to our 188th episode. Wow. Okay, I'm your host, Joy Onyeso, and I'm always excited to hang out with you every Friday night. And this week, we're going to be having a conversation on how to manage anxiety. Last week, we talked about gratitude and appreciation. We had an amazing guest in the studio, Chidima Ago, and she gave us beautiful songs and then shared her perspective on why gratitude and appreciation are very important. And I hope you did get some nuggets from that conversation. And so today we're moving on to how to manage anxiety. I think this is very apt, and especially at a time like this. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I see you. Welcome. Can I see your TGIF? Thank God it's Friday. Yay. Thank God it's Friday. Awesome. Keep it coming in. Awesome. Welcome once more. And if this is your first time in joining us, welcome to the Friday Night Hangout. Here we have topical conversations that can help you to grow your personal brand or your professional brand. So, welcome once again. And tonight we will be talking about how to manage anxiety. Let's start from the perspective of even understanding what anxiety is. So, when we talk about anxiety, what are we talking about? So, when you have this persistent, overwhelming fear, worry, sense of overwhelm, right? Nervousness, then it could be said to be the condition called anxiety. I'm just trying to be a little bit careful so we don't even trigger, because it's is a very common mental health condition. And in our climate, Nigeria, we don't talk about mental health conditions a lot. It's not something that is always on the front burner. But at a time like this, when a lot is happening, it seems as if, there's pressure from every point. The children, most schools now have wrapped up their final semester. The kids at home, parents be wondering, how do I feed these children, especially when they're young kids. They eat. Oh my goodness, they don't want to know what time of the day it is. They don't even want to know how much it costs to prepare a meal. When they are hungry. And then if you have a young baby as well, you need to cry for baby milk, diapers. So the living cost has really gone so high, really very high. And that becomes a trigger point for a number of people. Now, why are we talking about this? We're talking about this anxiety because, this condition can make you not to live a normal, healthy life. It could affect your relationship. It could affect how you show up, your productivity. And so it's very important that we recognize anxiety when it shows up, and we look at ways of dealing with anxiety. Now, what are some of the features of anxiety? How do you know if you're having symptoms of anxiety? I'm going to talk about the physical symptoms, and I will also look at the psychological symptoms. So, for some persons, it presents with constant headache, right? That feeling sometimes as if your tummy is so cold right at the bottom of your belly, right? And you're feeling so worried, to the extent that you feel that coldness, that very deep coldness at the bottom of your belly. Sometimes some people have, their hands, their body begins to tremble. For some people, they present with sweaty palms, sweaty feet, sweaty, So it presents in different ways physically, right? And then for some of the psychological symptoms, you find people being afraid, you find people worrying a lot. Some people feel jumpy, some people feel very irritable, mood swings, right? It depends on the individual and what the triggers are. So it comes in different ways. But the key thing for us to identify when you are feeling that, you're having that persistent feeling of fear, of worry. Sometimes you begin to entertain all kinds of weird thoughts. Begin to entertain all kinds of weird dreams, right? So all of these things make you become dysfunctional. You're not able to live a healthy, productive life. You're not able to have a healthy, sweet relationship. It affects how you relate with others, even with yourself. Then it's time for you to really look at this. I remember some years back, about 18 years ago, yeah, a little bit over 18 years, when I had my daughter, and then she was diagnosed with brittle bone disease, right? I had an anxiety, panic attack, which is a result of anxiety that I had, not understanding what was happening, not understanding what the future would hold for her and for the family. I was unnecessarily panicky, right? And then she was presenting with a lot of fractures. She was fracturing her femur, all of that. And it was happening on a persistent basis. I was affecting her life, right? And so I was so afraid. I was so afraid to the extent that if I go out and my phone rings, I will start panicking. I will think they're calling me from the hospital or from the house to tell me that my daughter has had a fracture. And then when she finally, because it was a lot of struggle for me to get her enrolled in the school. God bless you, Neka Wankwo, for being that push that made me to put her in school then. Even when she had to go with an aide, right? But even at that, when she's in school, I will find out that I will be so uncomfortable. I cannot concentrate. It's as if I will be waiting for the phone to ring and give me the bad news. Oh, she's had a fracture. It really impacted on my life. I became so dysfunctional to the extent I wouldn't want to go anywhere because I was expecting that I would receive a call until she gets back from school. My heart will be beating so fast. I'll be having palpitations. And that made me take one drastic decision. At that point, till date, I had to put my phone on silence. So you would never hear my phone ring out. My phone would never ring out because I was afraid that each time rang, it's bad news. So one of the ways I had to cope then, my coping strategy was to make sure my phone was not ringing, and I tried to take my mind off it. So I want you to think about what your triggers are. What are the things that are making you feel so anxious, so afraid? I'm not talking about the one-off. I'm talking about that kind of fear, that kind of nervousness, that kind of worry that make you not to sleep at night, that make you not to function normally, that is affecting your productivity, that is impacting on the kind of relationship that you have with people. You're snapping at people. You're just so stressed out. And then it takes you off the track. So tonight we're going to have that sensitive, frank conversation. If this is you, like it was me some years back, it's something that you need to confront. Another thing about those of us experiencing anxiety is we like to have what we call the avoidance behavior. What is that? That's when you avoid triggers, you avoid certain persons, certain situations. You don't want to confront things head on because you're afraid, right? That's just a temporary solution. You need to give yourself the permission to be vulnerable enough to deal with it at its root cause. Now, there are different treatment options depending on the level of the anxiety you're going through. For some people, you need to go into therapy. For others, it might be a combination of treatment, therapy, and then you have antidepressants, right? Medications. And then for some others, just having a lifestyle change may help. So I'm going to focus more on the lifestyle change since I'm not a health practitioner. And then I would strongly recommend that if you've tried all of this and you've read up some resources and you've tried some of those some of the lifestyle changes you can, get yourself to do, and it's still not working. Rather, you find yourself feeling even more anxious as the day goes by. I would strongly recommend that you see your doctor, right, or your health practitioner. I know it's not a conversation we like to have in this part of the climb, but I tell you, some of these mental disorders, none of these things with 10 years madness, are people who have untreated mental health conditions. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something that can hit anybody, depending on the context or the situation you find yourself in. Like I shared with you, just having a daughter with a special needs, right? I did not know, I did not plan for it. It just took me off completely. And it took me a while to get used to the whole situation. It took me a while to see the silver lining. I would say then, I would say the dark cloud, right? But I've gotten over it, and you too can with the proper help and right lifestyle change. Now, one of the things that I've found very helpful in the past is practicing mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness, being very intentional. So oftentimes you hear me use the word intentional all the time. It's because it's been a lifelong practice, right? So you just have to be mindful of what you say, mindful of what you watch, mindful of who you interact with, the energy. Everyone has a certain kind of energy they exude. So mind who you associate with, you just have to be more intentional about your mood and all of that. And meditation helps us to clear your head, clear your thoughts, fill yourself in with positive thoughts, positive affirmations, and for you to know that, worry doesn't solve anything. Being anxious doesn't solve anything. It took me a long while to come to that realization that no matter how much I worried when my daughter was in school, it would not change the fact if she was to come back without a fracture or a fracture. But rather, it was impacting on my own productivity because I would not do anything but just worry and then work myself up into, an unhealthy state. So worry and fear doesn't help anyone. I had to come to a point when I said, so what's the worst case scenario that could happen when I was trying to deal with my fear? Excuse me. When I was trying to deal with my fear. So what's the worst case scenario that could happen? Sometimes you may need to get to that point, right? Where you ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And then the truth is 95 or more percent of the time, what you fear would never even happen. What you fear would never even happen. It only just exists in our heads. She's been in school for how many years? Like 17 years, I know, 15 years or thereabouts. And how many times did she actually come back from school with a fracture? Maybe less than 5% of the time. Most of the time, the fracture did happen in the home, not even in school. But here I was always worrying, panicky because she's out of my sight. So there are certain things you have no control over. You need to accept that. In accepting it, it gives you a certain level of freedom. For some of us, the school has closed, our kids are home, and you're already panicking. How would you get funds to pay for the school fees in September? Yes, I know that is something you need to start thinking about. But rather than, invest so much time being anxious and worried, you could map out very productive ways of trying to ensure that you get the money to pay the fees. And there's some practical things you could do. Perhaps if you find out the school fees is beyond what you and your partner can afford, why don't you look at cheaper options of school? So there are a number of things you can do, rather than, work yourself up worrying and feeling so anxious. Then another thing that I find out that really helps me is journaling. And I've kept that habit till date. So I am very expressive when I write. So I try to write how I feel. Why do I think I feel that way? What has it feeling that way? How has it impacted on me? And all of that. I started seeing some patterns. And then it started help just studying how I feel, writing those things down, what it costs me to feel certain ways, made me to become more proactive, right? I began to understand certain patterns and triggers. So journaling can help. And even beyond understanding your patterns or triggers, just writing expressively makes you feel good. Just like for some people, speaking out when you're speaking to yourself. Sometimes you could just be talking with yourself, having a conversation with yourself. And when you talk about it, when you write it, it looks less scary than when you keep it inside of your head, your mind, and then you're having all kinds of crazy scenarios that will never really play out. Then exercise. Exercise is another thing that can help you to feel good. I noticed recently that you exercise. So when I'm walking or just jogging a bit, I don't do much of jogging, more of brisk walking. And then it gets to some point in the walking phase, I just feel like sometimes we release into my system. I just start feeling so light, so happy, so energized. So this also helps you to handle anxiety and fear. So try exercise and do the one that you can. A number of us have some health conditions. Please consult your doctor or health practitioner before you go into certain kind of exercises. So I'm going to stop from here. I'm going to stop a little bit now because we need to take some ads. I'm excited to announce to you that we have an upcoming She Speaks Masterclass in August. And we're going to be talking about the power of consistent effort. So we have a lineup of virtual masterclasses from August through to December, and you don't want to miss any of them. Early bird registration is already on and going for any of the masterclasses. So that of August is happening August 17th. And don't you worry, distance is not a barrier because it's a virtual class, right? We're going to have it through Zoom. So the registration link is right there in the comment section. You can click on the registration link and it will take you right to the page for you to read more about the master classes and also for you to get registered and get yourself ready. Like I said, all the way from August, September, October, November, December, we're positioning ourselves to help you walk through the second half of the year. So by the time you get to December, you can look back and see how you smashed your goals, how you've enhanced your capacity, and then you feel so much better. We're talking about managing anxiety. Some other ways of managing anxiety is also to plan effectively, right? And so attending these master classes will equip you with some of the resources, tools, and then strategies that you need to live a more productive, healthy, and stress-free life. So don't miss our master classes. And we have a super discount for anyone who makes one payment registration for all of the 5 master classes. Or if you're in a group of 5 or more, you also get additional discounts. Yes, we are here to give you value. It's all about giving value. Hey, yes. Are you excited? I can see it. Great. So get ready. In less than a month, we'll be having the first class. And then we also want to appreciate our partners. We have partners who support in making this possible, and we want to take our time to appreciate those partners tonight. So thank you as you stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. You don't go anywhere. Join us in appreciating the She Speaks Summit partners who made sure that we had a very interesting interactive summit, which held on June 28th and 29th. And what we are doing with the 5 virtual masterclasses is to take all the lessons learned and unpack them into smaller bits, smaller chunks in the course of the next 5 months, so you can get them in forms that are easily digestible, something that you can implement right away. So let's have a She Speaks Masterclass Partners appreciation video.
Compass International Company is the best place to be. Our flagship product now is KIC White Chips. It's a product for POP material. KIC bricks for decorating your outside walls. You can also use the bricks for inside wall decoration, table and quality tiles. Compass International Company is the best place to be.
Yes, so welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you, great partners. Thank you for always making sure that we have the She Speaks, the virtual masterclasses, and the summit. So we've been having conversation how to manage anxiety, and I talked about what anxiety is all about. I discussed some of the symptoms, the physical and psychological symptoms, and then we also looked at some of the treatment options, and I shared with us the importance of lifestyle change. We looked at exercising, eating healthily. There's some food that you eat that gives you the right nutrients, and then you feel good. You want to cut out junks and all of those kind of. I know it's so difficult, but it's something that we need to do to cut out junks, fizzy drinks, and all of that. You want to eat healthy. You want to catch enough sleep. Make sure that you rest. Your body is well rested. It helps you to deal with some of these challenges, right? And also, do not forget to reach out to a trusted one, right? It's important to build a support system that you trust, that can support you, that can hold your hands when it becomes too difficult. And then if you find out that you're still not doing well, you're not coping enough, please do not be ashamed. Do not be afraid to seek medical help. Your healthcare practitioner is in a very good position to hold your hand and lead you on the next step forward. And I hope you'll find this very helpful. And for others who may be going through this common medical health condition, I hope this will be very helpful. Please do not forget to share with your friends, your loved ones who might find this very helpful. You never can tell. A lot of people are dealing with a lot these days. There's a whole lot that we're struggling with in these trying times. But not to worry, we've been built in a way that we can overcome, we can persevere, we can be so resilient. Now, next week, Friday, we are also going to have a very interesting conversation. We're going to be looking at the cooperatives. We're going to be looking at the cooperatives as a sustainable model for social and environmental impact. I know for some of us, we are not very confident with corporate. I wonder, why do I need to be part of a cooperative? Well, wait until next week, Friday. You will have 1,001 reasons why you need to be in a cooperative or support some of the activities of a cooperative next to you. So please make sure you join us next week, Friday, same time, 7 p.m. West African time, where we bring to you conversation on cooperatives as a sustainable model for social and environmental impact. You don't want to be that kind of interesting conversation. Beautiful conversation. And so until I see you next week, Friday, I want you to take out time, get enough rest, make yourself happy. Self-care is a very important aspect of managing anxiety. Show yourself some love. Know that you are worthy, and no one can do you as much as you do yourself. You have nothing to prove or to validate or to defend. Just be you in such a way that causes no harm to the next person. And know that I will always love, honor, and celebrate you. Until I see you next week, Friday. From myself and my team, it's bye for now. See you next week, Friday.
Oh, yeah, it's a Friday.